Hello, Triple J families. These are your mini Australian Labradoodles, and this is their week 1 update. In today's video, we're going to give you an update on each of the puppies. We're also going to tell you quite a fascinating story about Mama JoJo and how she was our super mom over the last few days. And we're also going to let you know a little bit about getting ready to welcome your new puppy into your home. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and JoJo and her mini Australian Labradoodle puppies had quite an interesting week. This video is a little late coming out because of this interesting week. So what happened? Well, JoJo was super mom. How did she get that status? Well, on Father's Day, our other girl, Tippy, went into labor and delivered 4 puppies. And then we ran into a problem. And as it turned out, we had to go to emergency with Tippy, and Tippy had to stay in emergency for a few nights. So that meant we had Tippy's 4 puppies and no Mama Labradoodle at home. So we decided we would see if JoJo would be kind enough to take them in and foster them while Tippy was recovering in the hospital. And so how does that happen? How do you convince a mama dog to take on another girl's puppies? It's very often in the dog world, because it's a natural instinct, mama dogs do everything in their power to protect their puppies. Now, what are they protecting them from? Well, predators, of course, and also access to scarce resources. And of course, the most important scarce resource for a dog is their milk bar when they have puppies. So it's not normal and not usual for a Mama Labradoodle to share that milk bar with someone else's puppies. And indeed, if these puppies were not being born at home and raised by people, there would be a huge competition between the girls to move up in the pack and have their puppies become the more dominant, supreme puppies. They would not be friends at all. That would not exist. It would be a competition, and oftentimes it would be resulting in a fight, and those fights often can lead to a fight to the death. So those are the natural instincts that we're working with here. So you hear me say all the time that we want to work with a dog's natural instincts. Well, when the dog's natural instincts are opposite to what you want them to do, then what? So what I decided to do was to leave the puppies in our bedroom where they've been born initially. And we have lots of pads, as you've seen on Facebook when we do our birth announcements there with the pictures. We have a series of pads that we use when the puppies are born. And of course, when the puppies are born, there's also their placenta, their birth sac, and lots of fluids that are also expelled with the puppies. So those scents are all on the pads. So we had them all bundled up, ready to go down to the laundry after the birth, not anticipating we were going to run into Tippy having to spend the night in the hospital, or more than one night as it turned out. So I got a couple of the pads, and without making any fuss about it, I just dropped them in here in front of JoJo's whelping box. And then I just simply walked away and I observed her on our monitor. And it was very interesting because JoJo went out immediately. She sniffed it. You could see by her body language that she was stiffening up, and she was sensing that this was a potential threat to her babies. And then it only took minutes. She continued to sniff everything, and then she started to lick where the fluids had been expelled. So clearly this was a positive sign in my mind that she was going okay and accepting what these scents were. And then at the end, she rolled in the hospital pads and got some of that scent on herself. So at that time, I was really confident that we were probably going to have some success. So the next thing we did was we got the puppies, Tippy's puppies, and we just brought them in and we put them right in front of JoJo. Now, of course, we did not leave them alone because there was that enormous potential for JoJo not accepting them and potentially even killing them. So we were very careful. We were right there and very much observing things. I didn't say anything to JoJo. I didn't ask her anything. I just told her she was a good dog. I didn't touch her. And what did she do? She licked them all from head to toe. I don't know how many times. They were really getting to be sopping wet, and she allowed all of them to nurse right away. Now we timed this so that these puppies, JoJo's own puppies, were doing what they're doing right now, conked out, sleeping with nice full tummies. So they can't see, they can't hear. To them, there was nothing that had changed in their world. Mom was still here, Mom was still available, so they weren't in the least bit concerned. So they stayed right out of the way, which was great, because that allowed Tippy's 4 puppies to continue to nurse. JoJo knocked them all off the milk bar, I don't know how many times, because she was doing so much licking. Now, the other thing that you might not have remembered from last week's update is the puppies can't go to the bathroom on their own. They're completely helpless for the first few weeks. Mom gets the puppies to go by stimulating them by licking. So that was something we were hoping that JoJo might do as well, and she did. And as soon as I saw that, I knew we were clear, that was obvious that she had accepted the puppies and she had no problem with adopting them and being a foster mom. Indeed, she was very, very attentive to those puppies and their needs for the days that she had them. She looked after her own puppies. She didn't neglect them at all, but she was very aware that the smaller puppies needed a little bit of extra attention. So she just did an outstanding job. So when she was washing them all the time, what was that all about? Well, what she was doing, I believe, is she was covering them in her scent. She was taking them and making them her puppies so that they didn't smell like Tippy's puppies. They now smelled like JoJo puppies. So that these puppies and Tippy's puppies all smelled the same. Everyone belonged to JoJo. So this is an incredibly generous, thoughtful, kind gesture by JoJo, and definitely not something you see all of the time. So we're very proud of our super mom. She's off out of camera range right now, deciding she's earned a little bit of a break from her puppies. But we were so proud of her, so impressed with her. And this is typical of an Australian Labradoodle temperament, but even amongst all of our Australian Labradoodles, you do not find this in every single girl. There are many girls we have that I wouldn't even consider asking, but JoJo has this wonderful temperament. She's just the sweetest girl, and she had no trouble at all. Now, where we did run into a little bit of potential problem was when Tippy came home. So JoJo was all settled in, very comfortable with having the extra puppies. As you can see, her puppies continue to thrive. You can see how they all have these beautiful, full, juicy tummies. Their coats are gleaming. They're all in great shape. You can see we already have the typical Australian Labradoodle pose going on here. This is Red Collar Girl, and clearly she is quite content with her lot in the world. She's going, oh, I give up. Yep, life's good. I'm just so milk drunk. I've got to pass out here and give my tummy some room. So they're all doing really, really well. And when we go through their updates, I'll tell you about their weight gains, which are quite substantial. They certainly did not lose out on anything when Mama JoJo was feeding the other puppies. Now, when Tippy came home, this was going to be a challenge because these were now JoJo's puppies. And to take her puppies away from her was going to be something that could, again, potentially be very dangerous. And also, we didn't want to upset her or cause her any emotional duress. So it took a team of 3 of us. It was Reynold, myself, and Taylor, and we coordinated everything. So Reynold went up to the hospital to pick Tippy up. He texted when he was about 15 minutes away. We took JoJo and all of our other adult dogs, and we sequestered them in our doodle den. Now, if you watch some of our other videos, you'll find out why we believe having the doodle den as a separate room in our house that can be completely blocked off is so essential, and not raising our puppies in the middle of the house, as you will see sometimes other breeders like to do. If we'd had that arrangement, we wouldn't have been successful, I don't believe, in this whole venture. So we took all of our dogs and put them in the doodle den with Taylor and closed the interior door, and we put the music up loud so that JoJo couldn't hear what was going on. We also closed off the drapes and the windows so she couldn't see the car arriving, and we closed the doggy door so nobody could get outside. Then Reynold came, we let Tippy out, welcomed her home. I quickly had moved the puppies from JoJo's room over to Tippy's. Now, these rooms are side by side, so this was something we were going to wait to see if it was successful or if they were going to just be too agitated, being close to one another, where JoJo would hear what she thought were now her puppies next door, or if we were going to have to move Tippy into a separate place where she would raise her puppies. So we brought Tippy in, we gave her her babies, everything went well with her. And to learn more about what went on with Tippy, what happened, why we had to go through this whole emergency procedure, be sure to watch her birth announcement video, which will be coming out shortly. And we'll tell you all about what happened there and why we had an emergency situation and what happened to the rest of the puppies that Tippy had waiting to be born. So once Tippy was all settled, it was great because the puppies were very quiet. They were back with mom. They had the whole milk bar to themselves, no big puppies bumping them off, and they went right to nursing. And then we spent just another few minutes making sure that Tippy was quite settled. Tippy is a very communicative dog. She likes to talk, she likes to sing, and so we wanted to make sure she was being quiet. And then we let JoJo out, our other exit. We let her go out, have a little bit of an outdoor time, and then we brought her in without saying a word, and she came in the whelping box, and she didn't seem to notice, and it was great. She just settled right in. Her babies were here. Nothing happened. But a few minutes later, I was on my telephone. I was phoning the vet to make an appointment, and I had it on speakerphone, and you could hear the phone ringing, and that set JoJo off because she was like, wait a minute, I can hear something. And of course I was over there where she couldn't see me. She didn't even know I was there. And so she started to bark, which got Tippy going. And then of course JoJo realized, oh, somebody's over there. So they had quite the conversation back and forth. So I got out of Tippy's room and I stood in front of where both girls could see me. I just talked them through it. I let them have their conversation. Goodness knows what they were saying, but it sounded a bit like, hey, who are you and what are you doing here? And Tippy saying, well, I'm here with my babies. Who are you and what are you doing here? And back and forth until they established, oh, okay, it's you. All right, everything's all right. There's no threat to my babies. The walls are secure, everything's safe, and they settled right down. So now we have two happy moms, each with their own set of puppies, and everything is back to normal with an enormous amount of thanks to our wonderful JoJo. So that was our last week, and that's why this video is a few days late coming out. I thank all of our families for being so patient and so understanding and not worrying that we were a bit behind schedule. It was really important that we had the ability to focus all of our time on getting Tippy settled back in and making sure JoJo wasn't having any upset or emotional duress from having the puppies given to her and then taken away from her. So she went through a lot, but she just was like nothing happened to her. So very impressed with our little JoJo girl. She did such a good job. And a huge thanks to her guardians for raising her so well so that she is such a great girl. So now let's get on with what we're here for and talk to you about your puppies. So you can see they are looking big. Now, if you haven't already, I want you to be sure to go to the Facebook page, whether it's our public Van Isle Doodle Facebook page or our private family community page, and check out the pictures. I have pictures of these puppies along with Tippy's puppies, and holy cow, you cannot believe the difference in size. They're all minis, but 1 week makes an enormous difference, and you'll see that when I tell you how much of their body weight they have gained, what percentage they have increased. So what have the puppies been doing this week? This is it. They've just been sleeping and eating and sleeping, and they've been growing. So I wonder, do you ever wonder when puppies spend 90% of their day sleeping like this, how do they not get atrophied muscles? Well, if you watch little red collar girl here right now, you'll see that she twitches every now and then. And lots of times when you see the puppies, there they are, they're all moving, they're all sound asleep, but they're moving still, they're twitching. And lots of people think, oh, they're having lots of dreams. And red collar's moving her front paws. Lots of times you'd look at that and go, oh, they're dreaming of running. Well, they haven't even started to walk yet, so I can tell you they're not dreaming of running. what they're doing is actually exercising. Now, if only we could figure out how to get this to work for people. What they're doing is constantly moving, even when they're sleeping. And that's how they develop good muscle tone and muscle coordination, despite the fact that they spend pretty much all of their time asleep right now. So nature has devised a very clever way to ensure that they can develop and go ahead and grow and sleep, but also develop all of that coordination that they need. Because what we're going to see over the next week is they're going to become more and more mobile. Their legs are going to become stronger, those muscles in their legs, and they'll start to be standing up on all fours. Now, just before we started filming, Purple Collar Girl was trying to get a little snack at the milk bar, and she's able to actually pretty much stand up on her back legs and nurse. She hangs on by her suction. She's not using her front paws to hang on at all, but she has enough strength already in her hindquarters that she can support herself to nurse in almost a vertical position. JoJo was sitting down because I was in here with her, and so she didn't have a lot of space, so she was sitting down. So Purple had to stand up, if you will, to be able to get to the milk bar. So this week, coming up week, between week 1 and week 2, is going to be more of the same, developing their coordination a bit more. We'll see them start to become a bit more mobile. And if we're lucky, on our week 2 update, we will maybe see some of their eyes opening. And we'll find out more about why their eyes and ears are sealed shut when they're born in our week 2 update. Now, just before we get to the puppies, all of you on the list will be receiving a video from us that is full of information about how to get ready at home for welcoming your new puppy. Things like setting up your dog-free zones. If you have children, teaching them to start to perhaps close the door to the bedroom when they're not in there so the puppy doesn't come in and destroy their favorite stuffy, their Legos, whatever they might have. You want to keep your children's possessions safe and secure, and you also want to be sure there's nothing that your puppy is going to get into that could possibly cause them harm if they ate it, such as a Lego piece, or more frequently it's cords. In the main part of your home, that's one of the things you want to look for, is getting your cords out of the way, figuring out where you can put your remote control and your cell phone that's way up high. Because when your puppy comes home, they're going to be quite able to move around, but they're still going to seem so tiny. It's really easy to think, oh, I can put this on my coffee table and they won't be able to get to it. But you will be amazed at how innovative they are and how incredibly adept they are at finding things they shouldn't have. They could have 10 toys in front of them and your cell phone is on the coffee table, which is really a challenge for them to get to. It'll be your cell phone that they want to go get, I guarantee it. So you want to be watching them all the time. You want to consider where you need to have gates to block them off so they aren't able to go up and down stairs or into areas where you don't want them to be. So lots of things to think about. But the most fun part now that we have coming up for this week is we want you to start thinking of a name for your puppy. And we'll give you a few tips on that in our email that goes out to you. But basically what you're looking for is, let's look for a name that's unique. If you use a name that's very popular, so right now very popular names are Sadie, Gracie, Finn, Bailey. Those are all very popular names. So let's say you're at the beach or you're at the park and your puppy's going a little bit farther than you'd like, and you go, hey Bailey, come here, puppy, Bailey. Well, you might end up with 8 dogs coming to you. It's also easier for your puppy if you have a name that's different and one that's unique, and so they can hear it and they can distinguish, that's you, that's me, I better go and see what it is that you want. The other thing is, try to pick something that can be shortened quite easily. It's really good to have a nickname for your dog. That way when you're just saying, oh, like let's say I want to call JoJo right now, and I go, hey Jo, come on Joey, that's a good girl. Oh Jo, good girl, there's my girl, way to go. But if I want to tell her she's done something that I don't appreciate her doing, then I'm going to use her full name. It's going to be a little bit more formal, and she's going to actually pay probably a little bit more attention. It's partly going to be my tone, but it's also when she hears JoJo, she knows that, oh, something's up, I better stop doing what I'm doing. You also want a name that's really easy for people to remember, easy to spell, and also easy for kids to pronounce, but especially if you have grandchildren or children that are going to be spending their time with this puppy. So those are our tips for finding a name. It's a really fun thing to do. If you're a family, do dotography and get those little colored sticky dots from the dollar store. Put all your name choices up. Each of you has a different color, and then put your dots beside the names you like until you narrow it down and end up with your name that you decide is the right one for your puppy. Part of it's going to be based on your puppy. Lots of it should have significance for you, some personal meaning, and also if it might be something that's particular to the name of the litter. You might want to follow the J theme. You might want to follow something from Australia or something that's pertinent to Vancouver Island. So those are all our tips for a name. So now let's go through the puppies and let you know what their weights have been for this past week. They are still too young to really have any particular types of personality showing through. They're just really all they're doing right now. Their only job is to grow. Nobody's a complainer. This litter is exceptionally quiet. We don't hear them. It's a bit like Orca's litter. We never hear them saying anything. JoJo keeps them so well fed. Now part of that is because she just has 4 puppies. But even when she had all 8 puppies here, we didn't hear a peep from her puppies. So first is Miss Red Collar Girl. Hi, babes. Now, Miss Red Collar Girl is one of the frosted caramels. And when these puppies were born, they looked almost pure white. And as I was saying, they would darken up a little bit. So you can see that she's darkened up now. Will she get darker than this? No, probably not too much. Maybe a bit. She'll be at the most the color that's around her ears right now. This little girl's a gorgeous tuxedo. And oh, she's going to give you her big yawn there. Let's not clean her just right now. JoJo always wants to clean them when they're on me, so they pee and poo all over me. I prefer if we skip that. So, and Miss Red Collar Girl, she's got a gorgeous big blocky head. This girl is a nice substantial puppy, really showing the trademarks of that Australian Labradoodle breed standard. Now this little lady currently weighs today 895 grams. So since birth, she has gained 154% of her birth weight. So I will give you in the email the actual date that the puppies doubled their birth weight, but clearly she had no trouble doubling her birth weight since we're at 154% of that birth weight now. There you go, JoJo, you can have her now. Next is Orange Collar, and Orange Collar is just having a little bit to eat here. Oh no, wait a minute, this is it? Just gotta make sure I got the right puppy there. That's Blue. Come here. I have puppies hiding here. I have a puppy hiding here. Purple is here. And Orange is going to be mad because she's eating and I'm just going to take her off of there. And Purple's quite excited that she's found the milk bar. Yeah, here we go, Orange. Oh, that suction is so strong. She does not want to let go. Okay, there we go. Oh, goodness, I'm sorry, baby girl. Now, you'll see Orange Collar is slightly different color. She is a darker caramel, so this is what we just call a regular caramel. Yes, the other ones are frosted caramels. So many names for the same color. Miss Orange Collar Girl is doing great. She is the smallest puppy in the litter. She is 712 grams, and since birth, she has added to her birth weight by 155%. So she has actually gained and increased her weight more than Red Collar, despite being the smallest puppy in the litter and Red Collar being the largest puppy in the litter. And next we have our one and only boy, which is Blue Collar here. Here, buddy. And Blue Collar is also the frosted caramel, also with very good suction. Hi. And you can see again his color is darkened up since last week. There he is, our handsome boy. He is all these puppies have tuxedo style markings, and this little guy has a bonus. He has a 6th toe. You can see that here. This is called a dew claw. Now, some breeders remove dew claws. I do not, because there is no need if they are well attached. There's nothing wrong with having a dew claw. It's not a defect or anything. It just happens that some puppies get them, some puppies don't. So he has a 6-toe on his 2 hind legs, which makes him even more special than he already is. And Mr. Blue is now 793 grams. And guess what? He has added 173% to his birth weight. Holy smokes. So he is really chunked up there. Clearly he has no problem at the milk bar. And as you could see, when I took him off there, he was quite annoyed. And there we go. I'm just going to show him where his spot was. Still, sometimes when they get disturbed like this, it takes them. Sometimes you wonder how they can't find it and how they ever gain any weight, because it always seems like they're hopeless at finding the nipple, even when you show it right to them. So I'll let him find it on his own. Clearly, he doesn't want me to find it for him. And then last but not least, we have our purple collar girl. She's another one of these beautiful, gleaming, frosted little caramels. She's a little bit lighter than her sister is. Hi, pretty girl. Hi, how are you? Such a pretty, pretty look. Now, if you're worried at all that if you have a light colored dog that in the winter that they'll just be always looking filthy and because they'll have mud on them, one of the very special trademarks of Australian Labradoodles is the dirt literally almost falls right off of them. So when they come in and they're all muddy, give them 20 minutes to dry off, the dirt will be off. Don't let them dry off on your white silk carpet. Make sure you have something dark and something you don't care about. And if there's any left, about a 2-second brush and the rest of the debris will come off. So I have a dog, Spirit, who is this color, and she never looks dirty no matter what she gets into. So don't be worried about that. Purple collar, oh sorry, you want to get down? I'll put her down now. That was too long to be held. Okay. Purple collar girl is 768 grams and her weight has increased by 157%. So clearly JoJo has a very nice, nutritious milk bar along with the best personality in the world, our super mom, our little super dog girl here. So we hope you enjoyed the update today. If you enjoy getting these updates and learning a little bit more about Australian Labradoodles and dogs in general, please take a moment and give us a like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out in terms of the algorithm from Google and YouTube to get us ranked. So we really appreciate when you take the time to do that. And the other thing that we really ask is that ask us some questions in the comments, or just comment and let us know what you thought of the video. More than anything, we love to hear from you, and I'm always happy to talk to anyone about dogs or Labradoodles in particular. So we'll hope to see you again next week for our week 2 update. We hope it won't be quite as an exciting an update, and we really hope as well we'll have some little eyes to show you then. Thanks so much for watching. She's such a good girl. Oh, that's the best girl ever. Yes.